Kocacık, a quiet corner of Ottoman Rumelia in the early 20th century, was a place defined by the scent of Macedonian tobacco and the enduring stone of its homes. Yet, this stability was a fragile historical pause. Elder Hikmet, his experience a library of past sultans and skirmishes, knew the complex reality of political fault lines lay just beneath the surface of the village's idyllic life. The First Balkan War, erupting in 1912, struck with the force of an earthquake. It was not a distant conflict. It was an immediate, brutal redrawing of borders that swallowed communities whole. Asud, a young woman whose life was rooted in the rhythm of the soil, watched with growing dread as the established order collapsed, turning her home into contested land. The ultimate cessation of cannon fire brought not peace, but a dreadful, suffocating silence, the signal of defeat and irrevocable change. The villagers found themselves a populace trapped, their centuries-old communal identity rendered provisional by the new political geography. Aunt A's, like all the women, carried the weight of the community's impending, impossible decision. The choice was simple only in its cruelty: remain under a new hostile administration or embrace the difficult path of the muhajir, the migrant, and seek sanctuary in the remaining Turkish heartland of Anatolia. For many, the land itself had become an unbearable memory. Hikmet, bearing the burden of a leader, made the final, agonizing preparations for the GOC, the mass displacement. The caravan set out in the biting cold of late 1912. It was a mournful procession of the dispossessed, carts laden with meager essentials, children wrapped against the merciless elements, and the elderly supported by the young. This journey was a trial by endurance, a desperate march away from history, and toward an utterly uncertain future. Hardship was the only constant companion. Illness and hunger stalked the line, and every passing day stripped away not just possessions, but the very fabric of their health and hope. There were graves dug in strange soil, anonymous markers left behind in the silent Balkan night, a grim tally of the journey's price. The passage across the final border, the frontier into the collapsing Ottoman lands, was a physical and psychological breaking point. They had left not just a village, but an identity. They were no longer the people of Kocacık, they were muhajir, their existence redefined by movement, loss, and the relentless, exhausting hope for safety and reintegration. Arrival in Anatolia marked only the transition to a new form of struggle. The task was to build a life from zero, to find shelter, claim land, and endure the suspicion of established locals who often saw the destitute newcomers as an unwelcome strain on meager resources. The trauma of the displacement was replaced by the challenge of settlement. They brought with them the essential knowledge of the tobacco fields, carrying the seeds of their old life in their pockets. But the soil was different, the dialect was foreign, and the ghosts of Kocacık sat at every new hearth. The muhajir experience was a lifelong duality, living in the present while eternally rooted in the past that had rejected them. The descendants of the migrants would inherit this profound legacy, the soft, distinct lilt in their Turkish, the memory of the Balkan Wars, and the persistent ache for a home they never knew. History, Hikmet would pass on, was not found in monuments, but in the persistent, often unspoken narrative passed down through generations, ensuring Kocacık would never truly be silent.